No, I just wanted a different angle.
Looks good. No, there's a lot of light. The light behind it.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
It's going to be all right.
It's gonna be all right.
It's going to be all right. All right. Would you acknowledge yourself for showing up this morning? Especially after what you did last night. The mere fact that you made it at all is a miracle. I know. And I got a song I'd like to start off with to dedicate, and I want to dedicate it to everybody. Especially since I traumatized a bunch of people by moving in here. They're traumatized. We'd never get over it. Bunch of folk. We handle change so well. So it's amazing how we're going to handle a big change of having everything we ever thought we wanted to come into our experience. That's the next change. Are you willing to try to handle that change?
Yeah.
Are you willing to try to handle that change? Yes. Okay, good. So this is the song. I want you to breathe on this, please. Just breathe. And just concentrate on what you'd like to experience today, why you decided to show up. And the lesson for today in the Course in Miracles workbook lesson is what? Let me recognize the problem so the problem can be solved. Let me recognize the problem so the problem can be solved. Do you feel it changing?
Oh yeah.
Rolling round at the season's end, about to lose my.
In the lesson last week said that changes are always helpful. So I'd like you to remind yourself that changes are always helpful. Even the changes you don't particularly like. So if you're in the middle of changes, I'm in the middle of changes. Are you in the middle of changes? There's some big ones going on right now. But remember, yeah. What's happening? It's okay. It's just changing. Let that relationship change. Let that financial situation change.
Don't know why, and I don't.
Let that health situation change.
Going where I've never been.
It's time to go where you've never been because
I feel it changing again.
and sometimes you know
It scares me so.
sometimes it scares me so much.
But my heart knows.
It's Donna Marie Carey.
Everything
Yeah.
is really okay. It's only changing.
I know sometimes when it changes you can't hardly take it. Even though you say you want it to change, when it starts to change, it's kind of right. Some of us know our way around our misery. We know how to handle that, how to focus in on that, but it's time for the good stuff to come in. You are entitled to miracles. You are entitled to states of completion and abundance. Donna, I feel it changing again.
Like a seed being carried by the wind.
I feel like a black leaf.
Now a new life begins.
I can feel a new life beginning.
I
feel it changing. And guess what?
It scares me so.
Some part of me feels a little nervous about it.
But my heart knows that
Everything.
is really okay. It's only change.
preparation, so you have to be patient with me. I always like to keep things simple. And I do all my classes in a very intuitive way. Spirit always tells me what I'm going to, the title of what I'm going to talk about, then I have to get out of the way. So now we're going to do the guidelines for the course.
It's time. It's time to remember only this. Only this. This is the only guidelines to the course. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. You don't have to welcome it. Some of it you're going to find hard to believe, and some of it's going to startle you. Did I say you didn't have to believe it? Did I say you didn't have to accept it? Come on, join in with me, y'all. Come on. Come on, come in. Come on in with me. Come on, help a brother out. Did I say you didn't have to accept it?
Yes.
Did I say you didn't have to welcome it?
Yes.
Did I say it's going to be hard to believe?
Hard to believe.
Quite startling.
Startling.
Quite startling. You are not asked to judge the ideas at all. I am not asked to judge the ideas. Who is that Holy Spirit that's always trying to get you past your stuff? God. Damn right. What's trying to always get you past your lack and fear and anxiety? God. What's trying to take you beyond your ego, take you past your every fear? What's trying to take you past your anger, past your detachment and your attachment? What's trying to get you to your good, trying to get you out of the neighborhood? That's love. So the thought that we had last week that we're going to bring into this week goes something like this. All changes are helpful. 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 All changes are helpful.
Very.
All changes are helpful. I love music.
Me too. Especially some funk.
Especially some funk. You know, sometimes when we get on a spiritual path, sometimes we especially, that's the thing about the word church that is a challenge for me. Because sometimes, without even realizing it, just hearing the word church brings up all that old childhood kind of attitude. And then you find yourself not feeling good about just pausing and letting it all hang loose. But this isn't church, this is a Course in Miracles class. And we're talking about the development of trust. And if you got the book, we're on page 10 in the teacher's manual. I hear people say all the time they want to do what they want to do every day. That they really want to get up in the morning and spend the day doing everything that they like to do, not worry about being taken care of. But they tend to forget one simple thing. The way that you do that It's by learning how to tune into your higher self and your own inner guidance and your own God within you. It's not going to happen through doing things the way the world says you should do it. You'll never be free doing it the way you were probably programmed to do it. And the two ways of thinking are nothing alike. They don't meet anywhere. The laws of fear and the laws of love are completely two different things. The laws of freedom and the laws of limitation are two entirely different things. And it takes a lot of guts to trust your own inner guidance. So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen when you say that you're ready to develop trust in something greater than yourself. These are the stages that's going to happen. So when they show up, you won't freak out. Okay, so the first thing that happens, thank you, yeah.
Thank you.
The first thing to keep in mind is that if you're trying to change from one way of thinking to another way of thinking, you ain't going to do it without some disorientation and confusion. So if you think you're going to change one way of thinking and go to an entirely different thought system without going through some kind of disorientation and confusion, sometimes some doubt, sometimes some fear, then you're going to set it up where it's going to be very difficult for you to pull this off. Because you're going to beat yourself up every time you don't feel good. You're going to beat yourself up every time you get afraid about what's happening. So make it okay to sometimes be confused, afraid, not have the slightest freaking idea of what's going on. As a matter of fact, if you're totally confused right now, you're in a very high state. So those of you might be at avatar level. Anybody at avatar level right now? You feel confused? Okay, so this is what's going to happen. When you say you're ready to develop trust in your true self, your higher self, God, the Course in Miracles says you're going to go through a period of undoing. And that the period of undoing need not be painful, but it's usually experienced as painful. You don't have to go through the pain, but sometimes we still choose to go through the pain. Even though we don't have to go through the pain, we have a tendency to experience it as painful. And it talks about the reason why you tend to experience it as painful is because at first, when you say that you're ready to develop trust, it's going to look like some things are being taken away. It's going to look like some things are being taken away, but it's rarely understood initially that their lack of value is merely being recognized. So it looks like something is being taken away, but what's really happened is that you don't value pain the way you used to. And sometimes the pain that you're valuing has a social security number.
Got it.
Sometimes, see, you're in a position now where you're able to see things, the Course says, in a different light. And so now you can see that you've been valuing some things that maybe you shouldn't value, like low self-esteem, not loving yourself, not letting yourself have the abundance you deserve, being into anger, depression, sickness, going to work every day at a job that you absolutely hate, living somewhere you absolutely hate, doing what you don't want to do because you're just living at the lowest level of consciousness, and which is innocent, which is the security level, where you sacrifice your happiness just so you can make it. The only reason why a person is doing that is because they're not in touch with their special function, because each and every one of you, we all have a special function. We were born with a special function, and as soon as you are doing your special function, you will recognize it, because the characteristic of fulfilling your special function is that you feel happy.
Yeah.
Is that you feel good. You know, it's like when I decided 25 years ago that I wanted to do the Course in Miracles full time, and I had a so-called executive position at Bell South and moving up the corporate ladder and was on the way to being vice president, and I walked in one day and said, I'm going to quit because this is not fair to you and it's not fair to me. My heart isn't in this. I got to follow my heart. You know, I would come in the morning with my briefcase, walk in there. I was one of those infamous first blacks. The black people say all the time, the first black to blah, 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 blah. And the first black to blah, blah. I was the first black to be a manager of the entire city of Memphis sometimes. And first black that was first installer repairman that was ever of color. And I could wear my tube belt so good you just wouldn't even believe it. I want to know that tube belt. Telephone mine. It was cool. Lot of streets. But I'm just using a different tool there. I love you. And it took guts. You know what I'm saying? It took guts to do that, but I didn't do it until I felt like I had developed an ability to listen to the Holy Spirit through the Course in Miracles so I could get guidance instead of believing I had to figure it all out by myself. And then I had to do it all the time. I had to do what it was saying all the time. So what I'm saying is that in order for me to move to what really fulfilled me, it looked like a job was taken away. It looked like an income through a job was taken away. It looked like a lifestyle was taken away. But the truth was, I was seeing that it wasn't valuable if it didn't bring me peace, because what wasn't bringing me peace was an attack upon myself. And if I attack myself, then my world is going to reflect that back to me through some form of constant chaos or attack coming at me from what appears to be the outside. Do you know that there's nothing that you're going through in your experience right now that's being caused by anything outside yourself?
Painfully, yes.
Yes, there's nothing. Would you take one of these, please? And pass it. Pass it. Would you take one of these and pass it? So as soon as you no longer value something, it's going to leave your experience. The Course says what looks like something being taken from us or something that's leaving our experience is actually the fact that we no longer value it anymore. So if you don't value something or appreciate it, it will appear to leave. That's why gratitude is one of the main things that I like to express to everybody in my life as much as I can, because I know that gratitude allows it to stay in my experience. Not appreciating it, judging it, and criticizing it is telling the universe I'm not really interested in it, I need for it to go. So whatever the things are in your life right now that you find yourself judging and criticizing, or the people that you see yourself judging and criticizing and trying to change in any way, it's just a matter of time before they're going to be gone. Because what you're saying to the universe is, I don't really value them. And I had to get to the point on my own spiritual path that I realized that people weren't born to fulfill my fantasies, and people weren't born to make me happy. We were born together to help each other wake up to who we really are together. I'm not in your life to fulfill your fantasies and to make you happy. I'm in your life to be who I am, and in being who I am, fulfill the need in you that can be met by what I naturally am, which is really cool, because then I can just be me, and then you're receiving what you should receive, and we're both happy. So the Course defines a grievance as always believing that if everything changed except me, I'd be happy. And so I'm choosing all the time who needs to do what a different way in order for me to feel good. So what I'm doing right now is I'm telling you the plan that doesn't work. Now, one day you'll realize the plan doesn't work, but the Course says the purpose of a relationship is to save time. So me saying that to you while we're in a relationship with each other is actually doing what the Course in Miracles says a relationship is for. It's for saving your time. I'll repeat that the ego's plan, which is the fearful plan, is that if someone else spoke or acted differently, if I was in a different circumstance, somehow or another, then I'm going to miraculously be happy. Spirit's plan is this. It's a very complicated plan. You sit down in silence, hopefully, and you stop and you ask yourself, and you ask your higher self, you ask God, you ask Spirit, whatever. I like God. I'm going to say God. I can't go through like 9 definitions to get past everybody's resistance to the word God. So I'm going to trust that you. So I can trust that you'll say what you need to say. I'm trying to get over the resistance that I have to words, like Jesus, like Christ, like holy, any of that. Because how can I say I'm this brilliant spiritual being on a higher level of consciousness, and I still crumble to my knees when I say a word? That doesn't make sense to me. Christ hasn't done anything to me. Jesus hasn't done anything to me. It's my perception and my learning and my programming from the past that's creating the reactions that I have to terminology. Yeah. You know, I know that just having a picture of what's not really a picture of Jesus behind me. In that part of the world, he probably wasn't blonde-haired and blue-eyed. That's okay, because we always make God in our own image. There's nothing unusual about that at all. Because really the truth is, God does have an idea of itself as us, as we are. You may not realize it, but God, you are God. God is within you. That's who you really are. The reason why we're not as happy as we could be is because we've forgotten that. Because we've been watching commercials. So when you're in a position to see things in a different light, then the Course says, then you don't value what you used to value. And what I'm finding that I don't value, like I said, is sadness, depression, lack, loneliness, unhappiness. Those things are not what I value anymore. But arguing constantly in a relationship, processing all the time, working on it, I want to play on it. I'm not working on any more relationships. I'm playing on relationships.
There we go.
That's what I want to do. Because it's in the attitude of play that you allow things to manifest the fastest in your life. And if you can't laugh at it, then it sticks around until you can. And that explains the longevity of some of your miserable relationships.
Oh, yeah.
You're trying to get to the point you can laugh at it. And what will happen one day is it will get so ridiculous, you will. You know what I'm talking about? Have you ever been in a situation that it just got so ridiculous one day you just had to laugh at it? You just go, my God, this is just too much even for me. So I'm going to laugh at this. Okay. Now, the Course tells us next that we're not yet at the point where we can make the shift internally. We're not at the point that we can completely change our perception to a perception that's completely loving internally yet. So if you're not at the place where you can practice the truth on your own yet, where you're ready to make that change on the inside yet, the Course says the plan will sometimes call for changes in what seem to be external circumstances. So in other words, if I won't make the change from the inside, then the external situations that I'm in will seem to bring about circumstances that I'll have to make the change. So if all of a sudden it looks like everything around you is changing, it's changing so that you can make the internal shift. What I'm learning to do is just to go ahead voluntarily do what Spirit tells me to do, rather than forcing myself to do it through some excruciating circumstance that backs me in the corner, and then I give up. Because that used to be my way. If you gave me the slightest bit of out, I was going to delay and procrastinate about doing the truth. And I was going to try to work my plan instead of Spirit's plan. And Spirit's plan is simply this. Spirit's plan is basically 4 questions. You sit down and you ask your higher self, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? And who do you want me to say it to? I say it again. You get quiet. You go within. You ask your greater self, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? Who do you want me to say it to? And be quiet and listen. You also live in the question. You put everything in the form of a question. Instead of putting things in the form of a statement, learn to put things in the form of a question. Whatever it is that you desire, ask for it in the form of a question. Don't say, I want to have prosperity and abundance. That's conclusionary. That's a statement that excludes a lot of answers. It would be much better to go, what would it take for prosperity and abundance to show up for me in ways beyond my wildest imagination through the Holy Spirit? What would it take for the right relationship in my life to show up in ways beyond my wildest imagination through love? In other words, you are opening up the universe to overrule your limited ideas of how things should come to you. Because the reason it hasn't come as fast as you want it to come is the way you've decided it should come isn't the way for it to come. And since it's not supposed to come that way, that's why it hasn't shown up. So how do you know your plan isn't the plan?
It's not working.
It's not happening. Okay, it's not like the infinite intelligence of the universe has to take time to manifest what it is you deserve to have. It's not like the infinite intelligence of the universe says, well, I'll get back to you in 3 weeks. You know, the plans we make up for happiness take time. The plans that Spirit makes up for happiness don't take no time at all. It doesn't take any time to be happy. It just takes a change of mind. It doesn't take any time to be happy. It just takes a change of perception to be happy.
Right.
You could be happy the next 5 minutes. You can decide right now that no matter what's going on in my life, I'm ready to express the joy that's inside me right now. I'm going to make the decision that no matter how many bill collectors waiting for me, I'm going to have a good time today. If you can laugh one time today, you know that's possible because you still have whatever the situation is that you think you're unhappy about happening, but you laughed. So that meant regardless of the physical circumstances in your life, you can choose to feel joy because you have already done it. But we need to extend that perception to realize it's a decision that I make every moment, and it can't be a decision I just make one time and think that's going to suffice me the rest of the day. No, it has to be a decision I make every time something comes up that tempts me to forget that I'm the holy child of God, that I'm the innocent mind of love, that I'm an infinite created being, that I'm not this body. This body is my communication device. It's the way that we relate to each other, communicate to each other while we think we're separate. When my body goes, I don't go. When your body goes, you don't. All of us know this stuff. We've just been mesmerized, hypnotized. We've just become identified with the part of us that thinks it originated here. And so we're together so we can remind ourselves that we're not the victim of the world we see, and that we can change anything that's happening through opening our mind to another way of looking at things. And you don't even have to come up with the new way of looking at things. The new way of looking at things has already been given you through all the different spiritual paths and groups that you're checking out all the time. It's just a matter of doing it. Now, why is it that I'm not doing it? Well, there's some part of me that knows if I do the thing that makes me happy, then the part of me that's based on fear will cease to exist. And the part of you that's based on fear and believes in fear, it wants to survive just like any other part of you. So it sabotages every attempt you make to give yourself the love that you deserve by reminding you of all the reasons why you don't deserve it. It's called the conversation in your head that you're having all the time. It's depressing the hell out of you. But it's you telling you to tell yourself that. This is the way it works. Part of Earl that doesn't love Earl, tell Earl that nothing in his life will ever go right. Man, nothing's gonna go right for you. You remember what happened to you when you was in the 3rd grade? It started then. Yeah, that's right. You remember when you about that? You had the crush in the 2nd grade on this girl named Ernie Houston. Remember her? And you got a dollhouse that you brought to class to give to her because you were so infatuated. You got your mother to buy a dollhouse to bring to her. And you came to class that day and you were so bashful and shy that your self-esteem wasn't high enough and you got scared and you gave it to the teacher. And so from that point on you became afraid to give in a relationship because you were afraid you were going to be rejected. So even now, I find myself wanting to be absolutely sure that there is somehow an interest and an opening toward me before I even approach someone in a female body. I don't mind pursuing, but I want to pursue where I'm going to experience what I'm pursuing. Seek and do not find is not the mantra of a conscious being. It's the mantra of a conscious being is seek and you will find. Then you have to get clear what it is you're trying to find. Right? And then the spirit said, well, what you really want to find is love, what you really want to find is truth, what you really want to find is freedom, what you really want to find is awareness, what you really want to find is joy, what you really want to find is love. And it's really within you, but the minute you see it within you, then it's going to look like it's coming from everywhere outside of you. So everything you really want to experience, all you have to do is create it in yourself first and then watch it just show up. How do you know if it's not for you? Deep question. It's not for you. How do you know it's not for you? It's got a restraining order out on you. It's saying no. How do you know you're in the relationship that you need to be in right now? Because it's just the one you're in. How do you know when it's time for you to leave that relationship? You will. Because all of us know that when you've had enough and when you reach your limit, you're gone. You're out of there. You've done it. The only reason why people stick around in something for a long, long time, to me, is just for 2 reasons. One reason is that they don't think they deserve anything better. And the other reason is because they don't think they've given it 100% yet. So sometimes it's hard to walk away from something that you know you haven't actually given your best to. But someone who truly feels like they've given their all, that they've been there 100%, that they've completely showed up in every way they can, they've tried to communicate and to share and to open up, and they absolutely know that. They don't feel any grievances. They don't feel negative about moving on to something different. As a matter of fact, they believe they deserve it. So they're trying to open up the space for it to happen because you got to have a vacuum for something else new to come in. You know. It's just that way. All of us know these things, but isn't it great sometimes to just have someone say it back to us so we can I know you all know this. I'm not a teacher, I'm an official reminder. That's how I perceive myself. I'm just, every time, I tell people, come to my classes because you want to be reminded of your power. Because you know you sometimes forget. Not because you're looking for me to say something entirely different every time I walk in the door and you walk in the door. You would just like to hear someone say to you, you are loved, you are loving, you are innocent, you deserve happiness. Abundance is your natural state. Right relationships can happen for you. You do have something to say about what's going on. Because when you're out in the world, you don't hear that at first. But as you accept it within yourself, you'll run into people all the time that's saying these things to you. When I go to my Facebook news page, it's like I got 1,500 gurus. All my news feeds are nothing but some form of truth, or higher consciousness, or love, or support, or I got the coolest Facebook friends because they all want the same thing that I want, which is some form of love and to see their life change. It's awesome. But I had to first allow that to be a part of my own consciousness before it started to come to me from my physical world. And there is a period when you first start to change your mind where it looks like you're the only one and you feel alone. And because you really doubt the new direction that you're going in, then you get that doubt reflected back to you in the beginning in the form of friends and relatives who say you're loco, insane, going crazy, what is that weird stuff you're doing? Because a part of you think it's weird stuff you're doing. And so they're reflecting that back to you. Also, when you get ready to start something brand new, realize that the part of you that wants to stay the old way is going to introduce as many obstacles as possible in the beginning to stop you. So at the very beginning, you've got to be very tolerant of what appears to be failures when you're trying to do something new. That's just a trick to make you stop. It's almost like expected. You know, you're getting ready to do relationships differently, then you attract Dracula. You know what I'm saying? It's like all of a sudden, if somebody shows up, sometimes it can be a bigger challenge than anything you've ever seen before. It's not that the person or situation is a bigger challenge than you've ever seen before. It's just that you are more aware of what you deserve, which makes you super sensitive to anything that's less than that, while in the past you saw it as normal. So the more your spiritual power begins to awaken, the more you will not be able to tolerate minor intrusions of discomfort. You won't be able to put up with the stuff you used to. That's not a sign that you're impatient and you're not becoming more spiritual because you can't hang out with stuff that you used to hang out with and handle and deal with stuff that you used to deal with that you knew was not best for you. It means you're actually waking up if you're impatient with pain and you're impatient with abuse and you're impatient with not being appreciated. That is a sign that your spiritual power is awakening, not that your spiritual power is dying. So if you're more irritated than ever, it just means you know you deserve more than what you're giving yourself forever. So now it's about allowing it, not trying to make it. It's about allowing it instead of trying to make it. It's about allowing it. Allowing it. Allow it. It wants to come. You have to allow it.
What's it?
Do whatever that good is you want. Whatever it is that love that you want, that happiness that you want, the answer that you say you want. Because you're getting an answer to every single thing that you're asking about. You don't hear it. Why don't I hear it? Because you're listening to the voice you made up. You're listening to your voice. The voice for God, the voice for love is only as loud as your willingness to hear it. It's no louder than your willingness to listen to it. So if you say you don't hear your guidance, that's a sign you're not willing to hear your guidance. You have to learn how to hear your guidance. There are rules to hearing your guidance. One rule of your guidance is that the guidance of the Holy Spirit does not increase your fear. That when you're really hearing your guidance correctly, it gives you a sense of relief and peace. It's not that your guidance is not going to tell you to do everything you don't want to do. It's going to reach you where you are. That's what's so cool about it. It's going to reach you where you are now. If you want a relationship in your life right now, that relationship can reach you where you are now. It's not going to go, when you change, then I'll show up. Actually, you could be loved where you are right now, and you could raise each other up together. You could remember together. You don't have to do anything alone. You never do. Yes?
Can you repeat the thing that you were saying? When I'm impatient with abuse and I'm not going to put up with it?
Yeah, it just means that your spiritual power is awakening. Your mind is awakening. Because you can't tolerate minor intrusions of discomfort now because you know that happiness should be your natural state. Inner peace should be your natural state. So you just don't want to put up with what you used to put up with. As a matter of fact, you can't put up with what you used to put up with. If you still can put up with it, you haven't reached your limit yet. And don't worry about that. Because the Course in Miracles teaches that everyone has a limit. Everyone has a limit. No matter what you're going through, there's a limit to pain. There's a limit to pain. There's a limit to pain. Now those who feel like it and will say the underlying passage in the sheet that I gave you, and I really want those who just want to listen to listen. Enthusiastic energy creates for everybody. So what I like in my classes is for everyone to do what they feel like doing. Sometimes people don't feel like participating. That's okay. I'm not offended. As a matter of fact, I think it's the most loving thing you can do is not verbally participate if you're going to do it in a half-assed way. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I think that's a loving thing to do. It's like somebody being with somebody who they know they're not going to treat right, but they don't leave. That's cold. You know what I'm saying? So I know that sometimes when I go to things, I just want to listen. Maybe I'm in a place where I just want to listen. And when they say participate, then I feel resistance. But those who don't mind putting the juice out there, please put the juice out there. You'll be amazed at the power of that for everybody. Okay? So I'm going to do the part that's not underlined, and then I'd like to ask those who feel like it to say the part that's underlined. And the part that's not underlined is the first step in awakening is to allow into the mind this axiom of truth. Together,
Nothing that I experience outside anything outside of me. I experience only the effects of my own choice.
You need to come to the point where you say to yourself, you need to come to the point where you say to yourself, you need to come to the point where you say to yourself, I have done this to myself. I did it. I must correct it. No one is to blame. The world is innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah. The truth is true always. Together, the truth is true always. Not my will, but thine be done, for I can do nothing, but the Creator does all things through me. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Rest assured, whenever you feel frustration, whenever you feel frustration and anxiety, it is because you have decided not to trust the truth. If you're feeling anxiety and depression, it's because you have decided not to trust the truth. And the truth is simply this. Together, only my Creator's plan for happiness will work. Only my Creator's plan for happiness will work. One more time. Only my Creator's plan for happiness will work. Say what? Only my Creator's plan for happiness will work. Now take a breath. It requires great humility to accept the first step on the path. I say it one more time. It requires great humility to accept the first step on the path. And this is it. Let's go. I have done this. I must undo it. But I have no idea how I did this. Therefore, I must surrender to something else. Therefore, I must surrender. One more time, let's say it again. I have done all this. What did you say, all this?
All this.
I have done all this.
I must undo it.
Done all this. I must undo it, but I have no idea how I did it. Therefore, I must surrender to something else. Take a breath. I do it that way because the Course in Miracles says that the body is the seat of your memories. That all your memories are stored in your body consciousness. So whenever you move, put a little groove, then you remember it more. And that's why I like to use my body. I got an extra chakra. It's called the boogie chakra. If you would create well, if you would create well, ask only. Here we go. What am I committed to communicating? Again, what am I committed to communicating? Next, what will my creations express? One more time. What will my creations express? Say, well. What will my creations express? What did you say? Say it to me one more time now.
What will my creations express?
Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me.
What will my creations express?
What will my creations express? Now the next one we go. What will my creations convey to others? What will my creations convey to others? What will my creations convey to others? And next, for what I seek to convey reveals what take deep breaths. Understand well, understand well, understand well, understand well, understand well, understand well. The way of the heart requires that you allow. Did I say allow?
You said
The way of the heart requires that you allow yourself. Allow yourself to rest in the simplicity of truth. This is so cool right here. I'll say it first, and then we'll say it.
There's one.
I love you so much.
I love you so much, baby.
It's safe to be alive. It's safe to be alive. It's not the sign of, a happy black man ain't the sign of assault. One thing about me, I either attract the people that the Holy Spirit sent me that can resonate to me, or I run people away. And I love that because I am surrounded by the coolest people you could imagine for that. But when I was like trying to please everybody, I had this mixture in my life. The ones who judged me because I was judging me. And the ones who accepted me because I accepted me. And then I'd spend all my time trying to get the ones who didn't like me to like me. And then ignore the ones who loved me because I thought they loved me. So I wasn't investing in the people that loved and appreciated me. I was spending all my time trying to get the person to love me who didn't seem to love me. That's a dumb plan. That's the stupidest plan that I ever used to think of. So I started investing in the love that was coming to me. I started to invest in the love that was coming to me through the Holy Spirit and appreciating it and noticing as much as I could. And then I would see the other stuff as a call for love, a call for help. And so to everybody that appeared like they weren't shooting out love to me, I would use a prayer from the Course in Miracles that goes like this. It goes like this. I give you to the Holy Spirit as part of myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. I said it again. Woo! I give you to the Holy Spirit as part of myself. I know you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. In the name of my freedom, I choose your release. Think of them in the name of my freedom. I choose your. Think of them in the name of my freedom. I choose your release. Think of them in the name of my freedom. I choose. You know what I'm talking about? Because I recognize that we will be released together. See, I have to do it in a way I can remember. You try to get in my body. Because I recognize that we will be released together. Say it again. I give you to the Holy Loving Spirit as part of myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself in the name of my freedom. I choose your release in the name of my freedom. I choose your release in the name of my freedom. What? I choose your release in the name of my freedom. I choose your. You know who I'm talking about? In the name of my freedom. Think of yourself.
I choose your release
in the name of my freedom. I choose your release because I recognize that we will be released together. See, that's at the end of chapter 15 in the Course in Miracles. Those prayers work. Here's the last statement. Woo, it's getting hot in here. I am pure spirit, undefiled and unaffected by anything or anyone. I am given full power to choose and therefore to create my experience as I would have it be.
Woo!
Together, those who feel like it, those who feel like it, those who feel like it, those who don't, that's okay. You're juicy and cute.
That's right. You're juicy and cute too, Earl.
I'm not juicy and cute too.
Juicy and
Thank you for your correct perception. Appreciate that. Yeah. I am pure spirit, undefiled and unaffected by anything or anyone. I am given full power to choose and therefore to create my experience as I would have it be. One more time. I am pure spirit, undefiled and unaffected by anything or anyone. I am given full power to choose and therefore to create my experience as I would have it be. Woo! So you can take that with you or leave it if you've already got one. But that's the core. That's the core. That's what will change everything. And the second stage that you go through when you go through a period of sorting out. Now, when you get to the point that you say this change is helpful, no matter what the change is, and you say this change is helpful, then the course says you go to the next stage when you get to the point that you can go, this change is helpful. Now, in the beginning, you must say it even if you don't believe it. Because believing it will keep you from, having to believe it will keep you from saying it. So it's not about believing it, remember that. In the beginning, you're saying it as a symbol of your willingness for it to be true. So either you're saying it because you believe it or you're saying it because you're willing for it to be true. So I'm willing for that to be true even if I don't always believe it. So I'll say it even if I don't feel it. I'll say it even if I don't believe it. Because spirit just needs a symbol, a sign for me that I'm willing to have it differently. Everybody with me on that? Yep. Don't make believing it a necessary step to practicing it. Or the ego in you will stop you from ever doing it because you'll feel like you got to understand it before you can use it. That's the slow way. Let go of this idea that you need to understand everything before you can use it. That's the slow way. Yeah. You don't have to understand it in order to use it. Okay? So when you're ready to go to the next stage, you'll say sincerely or insincerely, changes are always helpful. And then it says, next, the teacher of God must go through a period of sorting out. Now, that's a demonstrator of love. God means love. So a demonstrator of love must go through a period of what? Sorting out. Now, sorting out, this is always somewhat difficult because having learned that changes in your life are always helpful, then you have to decide all things now on the basis of whether all things increase the helpfulness or hamper the helpfulness. Is this thing in my life helping me or hampering me? And then it says we're going to find out that many, if not most of the things that we valued before, just hinder our ability to transfer what we've learned to new situations as they arise. We find out that our old thinking will block us sometimes for practicing the new thinking on the situations that show up. In other words, if it looks like I'm having a challenge in a relationship, that it looks like someone is attacking me, then my old learning tells me to defend and attack back, for instance. So I will find that my old learning constantly interferes with me sometimes being willing to practice the new learning. And so the Course says that you still value what's really valueless, so you won't generalize the lesson for fear of loss and sacrifice. In other words, I'll free everybody but my partner. I'll be nice to everybody but my family. In other words, there are some people that I'm going to exclude from the truth. There are people that I'm not going to apply the truth to. And so the Course says we think if we apply the truth, in other words, if I give, I'm going to lose. So therefore, if I give in this situation, it looks like I'm going to lose, so I'm not going to practice the truth in this situation because in this situation, it looks like if I do this, I'm going to lose. So the Course in Miracles then said it's only to the extent to which they are helpful that any degree of reality, it said it takes great learning, I love this, it takes great learning to understand that all things, all events, all encounters, and all circumstances are helpful. Say what? All things, all events, all encounters and circumstances are helpful. You mean even that? Yeah. All things, all events, all encounters, all circumstances are helpful. It is only to the extent to which they are helpful that any degree of reality should be accorded them in this world of illusion. You are only as real as you are helpful. It's only as real as it is helpful. It is only as real from this perspective as it is helpful. A real relationship is a helpful relationship. If I say I want a real relationship, I'm saying I want a helpful relationship. If I say I want a loving relationship, I want a helpful relationship. Not a relationship that's delaying me in recognizing my beauty. Not a relationship that's delaying me in recognizing my power and my innocence and my truth. I want a relationship, and that's any kind of relationship, not just romantic relationship, that makes me aware of the power of God and truth that I have within me to be used in every situation. So either you're hampering or you are healing. And that depends on how much I want to practice the truth in this situation. And how much I want to practice the truth in this situation depends on how much I truly want to be happy. Or believe I deserve it. So where do I know the areas of my life that I'm not ready to experience joy in? It's the areas of my life that I'm not applying this in. Some people apply it in every area but money. Some people apply it in every area but relationship. So whatever the exclusion, they apply it in every area and with every person except their mama. In other words, wherever you exclude, wherever you think that love couldn't possibly come to you through this person in this situation, in this circumstance, then you're excluding the truth and you'll see the exclusion that you yourself have decided is there. Yeah. So if you say, you just don't know my mama, you know, right, that because I don't know your mama, she'll probably treat me better. Because I won't come to her with the perception of her that she's just going to give me a hard time. You're expecting it and then you receive it and you don't know you're the one that's creating it because you're the one that's tuning into the part of her that's reflecting it back to you because you believe that's what you deserve from her. She's like a radio station and she'll give you any station you tune into. I'll tune into her cool down, loving, pleasant station and you'll tune into all the grievances that we have since I was a child station. And then that's the one that you pull out of the person so you think the person is the problem but it's your tuner that needs to be changed. And now it's digital. You can just go straight to it without all the interference. Because we're in the digital age. That simply means we can move to it fast now.
Right.
Here's a quick way to tune into anything that you think you'd like to experience. Anything that you'd like to experience, as soon as you think about it, it is created because you are a creator. All you have to do is start to ask to tune into the reality that's already there. That's the one you'd like to experience because it already exists because you thought of it because all realities exist. So it's much easier to ask to receive something that already exists than to try to make up something based on the idea that you don't have it. So to try to go out here to create something that you think you don't have, you're coming from the belief that it doesn't exist, so therefore it becomes hard to manifest because you think it doesn't exist. If you come from the perspective that you already have it, and everything that could possibly bring you joy already exists, then it's a matter of getting rid of the blocks that prevent you from allowing yourself to experience it right now, but you're doing it from the perspective that it's already there, and that's the way you see it happen. These are all things that work. These are all things that happen. It's easier than we can imagine. Now, this is the cool part. You must be willing, out of your respect for all your friends and relatives, to let them take as long as they want to do any of this that you're hearing. From this day forward, let go of your focus on anyone else doing this. Your only responsibility is to accept the truth for yourself. And if you would do that, the path will become so easy for you, it would freak you out because you'll realize most of the challenge that you come from is because you're talking to people. And you're trying to get them to see your point of view, or get them to understand you, or to try to change in the way that you would like them to change. If I believe that I'm the creator of my experience through my consciousness, then I apply that idea to me on my own, and I apply it to you whether you even believe it or accept it. I accept that everybody in this room, they're creating the reality that they want to have right now, and that they can have the one that they want to have right now. It is just a choice that they decide to make. Now, if you decide to be miserable for the next 20 years, that's your choice. I'm going to empower you by letting you be that way as long as you need to be that way. That's honoring you. It's not honoring you for me to try to make you be like me. And so that's where the challenge comes from. The path gets hard when you think it involves changing someone else's mind. It gets easier when you go, okay, I've decided today that I'm going to see everything that happens as love or a call for love. I've decided today that I'm going to choose for peace for whatever comes up. I've decided today that if I feel depressed or angry, that's my call for love, and I'm going to make it okay to feel what I feel because I've been told that as I grow, I'm going to go through confusion and doubt from time to time. See, I can do that without involving anybody. So it's only hard when you're trying to involve others who are not ready to do it. There's so many people that's on the same path and want to go in the same direction that you want to go to. So you don't have to spend your time trying to change the mind of those who don't. That's the hard way. Because you know what? They have an inner alarm clock that's going to go off. And when that inner alarm clock goes off, they're going to do whatever necessary to allow their blocks to be removed in order for them to make their connection to source. You don't have to worry about it. Relax. Go to a movie. Feel good. Because all changes are helpful. So the word value can apply to nothing else. The word value, he said, the Course says, it's only to the extent to which any circumstance is helpful that any degree of reality should be accorded in this world of illusion. The word value can apply to nothing else. It's valuable if it's moving you toward love. It's not valuable if it's moving you toward fear. Now I know there are going to be a lot of people who are like, well, there's a justification for fear. Great. If you think there is, then you can request all the fear you want to learn through. I will not stop you. If you feel like you've got to have pain before you have gain, that's fine. You can have all the pain you need to gain all you want. That's innocent. That's your choice. I don't personally believe that anymore. I don't believe it's necessary to go through pain in order for me to gain. I don't have to put my hand on the hot stove to know not to do it. I'm sorry. I don't have to learn through pain anymore if I choose not to learn through pain. But all the pain learners, you're totally innocent. But don't complain about your pain, because your pain is coming because you believe you need it to make your gain. So you should be feeling good about all the tragedies that you're dealing with, because you yourself have decided that they're needed for you to grow. So everything that happens that makes you miserable, you should go, oh great, this is another opportunity for me to have so that I can grow. But you find the people who say no pain, no gain are the same ones that's complaining all the time about everything that's going on. And they don't even see that they're requesting it for their own growth. And then mad because the universe said okay. Gave them exactly what they wanted. And you know people like that, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear the word easy? They get upset. I want you to say, if I conclude this today, I want you to say this word. It just put some juice on it. Like this is good, a good word. Like here it goes. Easy. 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 One more time. Easy. One more time. Easy. Would you acknowledge yourself for hearing this much Holy Spirit? Give it up to you. Give it up to you. You are willing to come today. Wow. We're going to do, let's do the love offering right quick. It's 2 o'clock. And there's one more thing I want to do right quick before you run out today. Just show up and give and receive love. That's all we have to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those of you who think you're dealing with your own personal issues, okay, just a second. Everybody that's dealing with their own personal issues, I'm available for personal one-on-one sessions, phone sessions, as well as Skype sessions, as well as in person. So if you go to my website, it explains what I do, and we can get together and I can give you some concrete ways to work through whatever it is you think you're working through, using the Course in Miracles, and if you're open to it, my knowledge of astrology and numerology, for those who are open to it. Because these are all ways to help us. The shortcut actually is learning how to listen to things that you don't quite get or understand and you don't really know how it works. That's how I fly. I don't know anything about aerodynamics, but I get over to Europe all the time. So my understanding of that is not necessary for me to get the benefit. So let go of this idea that you got to understand God. You got to understand the unknown before you can get the benefit of it. It's an ego trick. You don't have to understand nothing except how to get on the plane and buy a freaking ticket.
Yeah.
Right. So that's all I need. I need to understand what I need to do to allow it to happen. Then I'm allowing the flight.
Yeah.
So we have to allow the flight. What you're doing when you come here every week is symbolic of allowing the flight. It's time for you to allow the flight. Okay, so we're going to do one more time, really short. The keys to healing that we've been doing before, and then we're going to go out in the lab. Okay, you ready to go out in the lab? Yeah, what were you about to say?
Just that it is so cool to see you in here standing up like you used to do.
I have to move around sometime. I can't sit around all the time. Plus, I didn't feel good with so many people being to my back, even though they had my back.
I was great too, but this kind of new era.
Yeah, well, I have so much energy coming through me right now. I feel like I'll explode if I just stand still, because the light is coming through. You all don't know, when I look at you, I see colors around you. Really? Yeah. And the Course in Miracles talks about how at some point you begin to see light around you. And the light and the colors of the light change according to how the person is feeling. If you're not going to no longer use attack in order to defend yourself, then what is the spirit substitutes for attack? Awareness.
Yeah.
Awareness. You just become aware of who to bless and avoid, and who is safe for you to be around just by the energy and your intuition and the light. that's around them. So you'll find that your life becomes safe simply because you are being made aware of everything you should be made aware of, and not because you're afraid all the time. And that's another level. You know, I just want to give and receive love. If somebody doesn't trust me, it just means they're untrustworthy. That's what the Course says. You know, who's not trustworthy? The person who doesn't trust anybody. They're revealing themselves as untrustworthy, but they think they're the ones that's trustworthy, trying to decide if you are. But a truly trustworthy person recognizes another truly trustworthy person. And beside that, a conscious being knows no one can do anything to them anyway, and the only thing that can happen to them is something that they create through their own consciousness. So it doesn't really matter where you're coming from. My own consciousness will protect me if I'm truly in the loving place. So it doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying? Then a person that's afraid and doesn't trust you, they're going to get away from you. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Here we go, one more time. The first step in awakening is to allow into the mind this axiom of truth. Let's go. Nothing that I experience is caused by anything outside of me. I experience only the effects of my own choice. You need to come to the point where you say to yourself together, I have done this to myself. I did it. I must correct it. No one is to blame. The world is innocent. No one is to blame. The world is innocent. No one is to blame. The world is innocent. No one is to blame. Let's jump down and say, only my Creator's plan for happiness will work. Say what? Only my Creator's plan for happiness will work. Only my Creator's plan for happiness. And let's shout that one out.
Only my Creator's plan for happiness will work. Only my Creator's plan for happiness will work.
Only my Creator's plan for happiness. Move that body. Only my Creator's plan for happiness will work. Just about. Only your Creator's plan for happiness will work. Only your Creator's plan for happiness will work. Say what? Only your Creator's plan for happiness will work. Only your Creator's plan for happiness. Tell the truth about yourself and go. I am pure spirit. 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 Now who feels like dancing? Who feels like moving? Jump on up and go. I am pure spirit. 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 I am pure. Now here we go. I am entitled to miracles. I am entitled to miracles. Get loud with it, y'all. I am entitled to miracles. Say what? I am entitled to miracles. One more time, I go. I am entitled to miracles. Say what? I am entitled to miracles. Yes, I am entitled to abundance. I am entitled to abundance. What? I am entitled to abundance. I am entitled to abundance. Say what? I am entitled to abundance. Oh yeah, I am entitled to abundance. I bless the world because I bless myself. I bless the world because I bless myself. Say what? I bless the world because I bless myself. I bless the world because I bless myself. I appreciate y'all. I love you. All right. You're going out into the lab. May the